future-proofing journalism in Nigeria Media Sustainability Conference, which is jointly organized by the Daily Trust Foundation and Media Development Investment Fund, has examined what can make media houses to sustain and be viable in future. Participants at the conference asked this to say.
Well, I'm supposed to speak about my experience as somebody who has been in the industry for many years, about what it takes, what are the challenges of sustainability. And my thoughts are that things are changing so rapidly that we are faced with new challenges every day. How do we survive as a media? And how do we continue our work which supports democracy? So basically, I thought that we can learn from others and also contribute our own ideas about how the media can survive as a business first before it can even do its own editorial work. I mean, that's what is coming out of the conference, and that accords with my thinking and experience of the media.
The incoming set of publishers, editors, and media outlets like online, what do you see about them in the next future, in the next 5 years?
I think online publishing has made things easier. A very smart journalist with his computer and a couple of colleagues can easily set up shop and start distributing content. To that extent, you don't need too much infrastructure, you don't need to have a printing and distribution, physical distribution. So that's much easier. And I think if you do it well, and you get you manage to get attention of a particular audience, you can survive. It's a little difficult to make money online. It's challenging because people are used to getting things free online. So it's very hard to convince the audience to pay. But the more compelling your content, the more unique it is, the more I think you can persuade both the reader or the viewer and eventually the advertiser to come to you.
What key strategies should media organizations in Africa adopt to ensure sustainable independence for impactful journalism in the future?
I think it goes back to one, defining your audience and trying to serve that audience. Secondly, finding a way to make money from that audience. Easier said than done, but that's what it takes.
What is it that makes this kind of gathering be very important to you?
Well, Nigeria, first of all, is an incredibly important country on the continent and internationally. And the state of journalism here and of the news media is essential for Nigeria's future. So coming to a conference like this that's focused on the sustainability of independent media lets me have a better understanding of what's happening here, and hopefully my organization can contribute to what's happening here through NAMAP.
What advice will you be giving to those incoming media houses that are not yet standing, but they are just coming up?
The most important thing is to love your audience, know your audience, do whatever you can to understand your audience's interests, what they need, and how you can be responsive to that.
What are the other means of income that it can generate that can make them to sustain and be in business?
So these days, for news media, a diversity of revenues is really essential. There are three main kinds of revenue that a media company can rely on these days. One is the audience revenue, and I think that is the best kind you can get. So if you're relying on your audience, and if you're producing content that's meaningful enough for somebody to be willing to pay for it, that means, one, you're serving your audience, and two, it gives you a very strong financial foundation to build on. Advertising, of course, remains important for most media, and there are many different kinds of advertising, from direct sales, which again I think is the most important, is to develop a relationship with your advertisers and sell to them directly. And then there's programmatic advertising for digital media, and native advertising, which again is around a direct relationship with the advertiser. And finally, there's events. Events have become, I think, a very important source of revenue for many media companies. For a media company, one of the most effective ways of developing an audience is to try to build a community around the subjects that you're providing news about. And events usually are the essential way of doing that.
Media Sustainability Conference. What do you think is take home from this conference?
It's very important for us to realize that in the media, we mostly focus on content, on how to give the best, how to do investigative reporting, how to give accountability report, and what have you. But on most occasions, we don't look at it from the point of business perspective. And without the money coming in, the sustainability cannot be there for the organization to still exist. So one of the things that we're going to learn from this, one of the things that we'll be learning from this conference is for us to understand how to create alternative sources of revenue, streaming revenue, so that at least without advertisement, that you still have sources of other revenues that can sustain the business, and for us to be able to do the report that we're expecting without compromising even the editorial integrity of the organization. So, and the editorial integrity of the organization is very fundamental and germane, but without money, what can you do? So in this situation, one of the take home from this conference would be, one, for us not to depend on government, for us not to depend on grants, for us not to depend on advertisement. Then how do you create alternative source of revenue that is creating products from what we produce as media organization and media enterprise?
If you had to give like one or two, what will you give?
You see, one of the areas in which we're not looking at seriously is the fact that, look, we need to think out of the box. How can we monetize some of the things that we do? People want to read good stories, and good stories are produced with good money. So what are the ways for us to get money? So at times we'll look at how we can even leverage on our social media handles, on how we can embark on a lot of audiovisual content. Because a lot of people these days are a bit tired of reading textual messages. But if they see it in an audiovisual, they're mostly very happy to go through, even at leisure. And in this digital age, we should realize that our content should be what people are really after, what people really want. That is one of the most important things.